All right, FightHype.com. You're one of the most underrated and one of the top trainers in all of boxing. Justin Gamber, trainer of super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Plant. Justin, let me ask you, do you think we get a dominant performance out of Caleb against Mike Lee on July 20th?
I mean, if the opening odds are any indication, they were 45 to 1. So if they're any indication, I would say yeah. But I mean, just from my opinion, of course. I mean, I expect a dominant performance from him every time.
How much of those odds are a compliment to Caleb's last performance, and how much do you think is the bookies not respecting what Mike Lee?
I think it's a combination of both.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think it's necessarily just Caleb's last performance. I think it's his whole career. I mean, before his last fight against the champ Uzcategui, I had him out of 85 rounds that he had boxed as a pro. I had him losing 3. It's pretty dominant, you know. And if I feel like my guy lost a round, I'll be the first to tell him, because we got to make adjustments. We got to figure out why we lost it, and we got to keep it from happening again. But I think it's a combination of both. Mike Lee, he's you know, a lot of people say he doesn't deserve this opportunity. Well, you know, we've never been the type of team to turn anyone down, and this is who our management gave us. So we're fighting. You know, at the end of the day, we got to take him extremely serious, because he's an undefeated guy, and undefeated guys like to keep it that way. And this is his dream. This is his biggest. This is the biggest dream of his life. You know, fighting for the world championship, winning the world championship. So he's going to be motivated. He's going to give it everything he has, or at least I would think that he would. And we got to be prepared for that. And I got to remind Caleb of that. I got to remind him. It would be easy to overlook Mike Lee, given that I haven't heard of a single fighter on his record, you know, and he talks about how he's a big puncher. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Caleb has a higher knockout percentage than Mike Lee. Just all the variables involved, it would be easy for us to overlook them. You know, a lot of people would see the opening odds, 45 to 1, and be like, yeah, we don't necessarily need to, you know, take this guy so serious. We can be a little lax with this guy. But you don't want to be lax with anyone in professional boxing, right? That's when things like Anthony Joshua, Andy Ruiz happen. Things like Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson. That's when things like that happen. So, you know, it's my job to keep him focused and keep him on task, on point, and working harder than ever. But yeah, I just think it's a combination of both Mike Lee and Caleb's dominance in his career. I saw the odds that way.
Well, you know, like you said, he is 21-0. He is undefeated. And I know you're a real professor of the game. So when you've watched this guy, if you've gotten a chance to watch him on tape,
I have. He doesn't have much online, but I've seen some.
What do you think? Being honest,
I mean, I don't see anything that he does that that should pose too many problems for us, honestly. I mean, I'm not going to outbox Caleb Plant. Is he going to be the aggressor? Is he going to rough him up, put on effective aggressiveness? He can try, but I mean, that style plays into Caleb's his hands, and if Mike does that, the beating is gonna be enhanced for sure. I mean, is he gonna pot shot? Is he gonna counter punch? Is he gonna stick and move? I mean, any way you look at it, any way I look at it, I just don't see him having success with Caleb Plant. So, from what I've seen, from what I know, from everything that his record and his credentials, just everything in the situation, everything that I see on his end tells me that we won't have many problems. If anything, it could be a disappointment for us if we don't put on a solid, you know, a dominant performance, and we have goals for this fight that go beyond winning.
what were those? What do you mean? Becoming
I'm going
a
to keep
star?
those to myself, but
right.
we have goals beyond winning for this specific fight. We have things that we want to do in this fight that are beyond winning. We don't only want to win this fight. We want to win it we want to add a few elements to our way.
Because when you're fighting on Fox before a major pay-per-view, if you could perform the way you want to perform, do you feel like that's a big opportunity to make Caleb a household name?
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And not only that, but if Mike Lee is the guy that, most people are saying that he is, that he doesn't deserve to be in the ring with Caleb, then we need to show that. We can't let it be a competitive fight where, that'll be a disappointment, and that would be, that would have we would get a lot of negative press from that, from it being a competitive fight with a guy he's not supposed to be competitive with. It's important to us that we put on a dominant showing on Fight Night.
And I know your job is boxing trainer, not psychologist, but a lot of boxing is about the mental, I've heard. Do you feel that Caleb, when he was such a dominant presence with him and Mike were in the same room, that he mentally may have already defeated Mike to some degree or gotten his head?
I'm not going to say that he defeated him, but I mean, they did 2 press conferences, one in New York and one in LA, and you could see there was a significant difference in Mike's demeanor from New York to LA.
Right.
He was getting upset. His dad was cursing at somebody in an interview. Clearly, Team Lee, they were upset in LA, and it was clear that Caleb was getting under his skin. Now, I'm not going to say he dominated him, but he clearly got under his skin. Will that be effective? Will that have any? Will that play a part on Fight Night? Dude, it's like 2 months before Fight Night, so probably not. But who knows? Maybe Fight Week when they have a press conference, if Caleb does the same thing, maybe that could have an impact on the fight because it's only a few days from the fight.
But it almost seemed as though he mentally was establishing before the bell ever rings, I'm the champion. Yeah.
Totally understand. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, he was, and he needed to. I mean, he's the champ. He needs to show Mike Lee, who the boss is. He needs to look at Mike Lee and say, "Hey, man, I'm the boss. You're just an employee. All right, this is the way it is. I'm sorry. All right." And but
he didn't even say I'm sorry.
Most important, yeah, he wouldn't do that. I might, but he wouldn't do that. But most importantly, he just needs to do it in the ring on Fight Night.
Right.
That doesn't really matter at the end of the day. I mean, it is a part of the game. It's it's that old Bernard Hopkins kind of psychology part of the game, but at the end of the day, none of that matters if we don't do it on Fight Night. And that's the most important thing.
Absolutely. And lastly, Justin, before I let you go, Callum Smith, he does have what many consider the lineal title, the ring title, but how and why does Caleb beat him if they ever unified the division?
I think that Caleb is really too much for anybody in the weight class as far as skill goes. They're going to outsize him. He's probably the smallest super middleweight champion. But just like another guy who won his first world championship in his 18th fight, Floyd Mayweather, against Gennaro Hernandez, it's not about size. We all saw Floyd fight Diego Corrales. Size wasn't a factor, right? And Diego Corrales was actually higher on the pound-for-pound list than Floyd at that time. What I see in Callum Smith, I see he's a good fighter. I see a fundamentally strong guy, big guy. I guess he was at the Wild Card recently, and people were talking about, somebody from this gym said they saw him there, and they were surprised at how tall he was. Like 6'4". He's a big boy.
Yeah.
But like Diego Corrales, a guy with skill, good footwork, that doesn't really matter. Now, Callum's a different type of fighter than Diego Corrales, but fundamentally solid. He's not going to deal with the spectrum that Caleb Plant brings. So many different looks, so much athletic ability, and so much speed. I mean, skill and speed. At the end of the day, skills pay the bills, and Caleb's got more of them than anybody in the weight class. So I see him besting everyone in the weight class.
And lastly, with that being said about Callum and the division, do you think it's only a matter of time before Caleb does become recognized as a pound-for-pound elite type fighter?
It's only a matter of time. I told him that when I started training him. I said, not only will you become a world champion, you're going to be. I expect you to be pound-for-pound #1 in boxing. We're not looking for, okay, #2 pound-for-pound. We're looking to be the best, and I expect that from him. He's showed me everything that I wanted to see from him in his pro career so far. He's done everything that I asked him to do and told him he was going to do. So I expect him to keep that trend going.
Thank you, Justin, and for what it's worth, I'd like to see you get a little more credit for that amazing boxing brain you have, and thanks for imparting some of the knowledge on us, man.
Absolutely. It's just a matter of time, you know. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about making my guys the best they can be.
Spoken like a great trainer.